Liam Dellisto was no longer the confident manipulator who walked into the courtroom with a smirk. Jail stripped him, literally, emotionally, psychologically. No designer clothes, no private office, no illusions of control. Just concrete walls, metal bars, and the cold echo of his own thoughts. The guards led him into the holding cell after the outburst in court. He tried to laugh, tried to shrug it off, tried to act like it didn't break him. But the second he was alone, he slammed his fists into the wall. Once, twice, again. Damn it. His knuckles split. Blood smeared across gray concrete. A guard approached. Dellisto, hands off the wall. Liam snarled. Shut up. The guard stepped forward. You want solitary. Keep going. Liam froze. Solitary. Silence. Isolation. No audience. No one to manipulate. Solitary was his personal hell. He backed away, breathing hard. The guard observed him, not with fear, but with a calm pity. Son, whatever you did out there, it's catching up to you. Liam's voice fell quiet. No, it's a mistake. They're lying. The guard raised an eyebrow. Your mother lying. Your wife lying. Your neighbors lying. The baby mama lying. Your accountant lying. Liam clenched his jaw until it trembled. I'm the victim. The guard scoffed. You keep telling yourself that. Aurora sat in her living room with Margaret and Sarah. Baby Evan slept in his carrier. Leo played quietly with toys on the carpet. A fragile moment of peace. Benjamin entered without knocking, face pale, urgent. Aurora, we need to talk. She stood immediately. What happened? Benjamin closed the door behind him. It's Liam. Sarah jumped to her feet. What about him? Benjamin shook his head. No, he hasn't hurt anyone. But he did something unexpected. He placed a phone on the table. This was recorded in jail an hour ago. He pressed play. Liam's voice, cold, low, venomous, filled the room. Tell my mother I'm not done. Tell her I still have cards she doesn't know about. Tell her she's barely seen the truth. Aurora's breath caught. Margaret whispered, What does that mean? Benjamin took a deep breath. The DA believes Liam is threatening that there are more crimes, more schemes, more victims. Aurora sat down slowly, dizzy. My God. Benjamin placed a file in front of her. This was found in Liam's car after his arrest, hidden under the passenger seat. Aurora opened it. Her hands began to shake violently. Inside were copies of her Social Security card, copies of her passport, a bank loan pre-approval for $120,000, a contract draft for selling her house to a shell buyer, a binder titled Care Facility Transition Plan. Aurora Dellisto. Aurora covered her mouth. He was going to put me away. Benjamin nodded grimly. He was preparing to declare you incapacitated and move you to a private psychiatric facility. Permanently. Sarah collapsed onto the sofa, sobbing. That monster, I lived with him. I slept next to him. I shared a life with him. Margaret put an arm around her. Aurora stared into the folder, heart pounding. What else was he hiding? Benjamin pressed his lips together. That is why we have to prepare for the worst. Later that afternoon, Aurora and Margaret arrived at the DA's office. Alexander, the district attorney, looked exhausted, files spread across the table. He gestured for them to sit. Mrs. Dellisto, we've uncovered a deeper layer of your son's actions. Aurora gripped the armrest. What layer? Alexander slid a document across the table. Liam had contacted a real estate company regarding your house. He told them you wanted to sell because you were moving into a memory care facility. Aurora gasped. That's a lie. I never. We know, Alexander said gently. But that's not the worst part. He pulled out another document, a healthcare directive, forged, signed with Aurora's signature. Perfect, identical, practiced. In it, she supposedly agreed to be put under full-time cognitive care supervision. Aurora's skin went cold. He forged my consent. Alexander nodded. Your son planned to put you away legally. Forever. Once you were inside that facility, he would have full control of your assets. Aurora whispered, I raised him, I fed him, I protected him. How could he? Her voice broke. Alexander leaned forward. Mrs. Dellisto, I need to ask you something difficult. Aurora looked up. What is it? Do you want the additional charge filed? It would raise his sentence significantly. Aurora didn't hesitate. Yes. Margaret squeezed her hand. You're doing the right thing, she whispered. Alexander signed the document. Then, as of today, Liam Dellisto is officially charged with premeditated elder institutionalization, fraud, a high-level felony. Aurora stared out the window. The sky outside was gray, but inside her chest, something burned. Strength. Finally, Liam sat in the visitation room, staring at the metal screen. His lawyer Carter entered, furious. Do you understand what you've done? Liam shrugged. They're all lying. No, Liam. Carter slammed a folder onto the metal table. You threatened the DA's office on a recorded line. You practically admitted there's more. Liam frowned. So, Carter hissed. They just added a felony charge that carries 10-15 years by itself. Liam's eyes widened. What charge? Carter leaned in. Intent to forcibly institutionalize your mother. Liam's breath stopped. What? That's. Save it, Carter snapped. They have the documents. They have the fake signatures. They have the facility notes. And now they have your jailhouse threats. Liam slammed his fists onto the table. She ruined me, that old witch. Carter grabbed him by the shirt collar. Listen to me. If you keep acting like this, you're going to die in here. Liam froze. Die in here. The words echoed through his skull. For the first time, the mask cracked. Fear seeped in. Real fear. "What do I do?" he whispered. Carter shook his head. "You pray, because right now, the DA is preparing to bury you." 2 days later, Aurora received another call from Benjamin. "Aurora, I need you to come to my office right away." She felt her stomach drop. When she arrived, Benjamin looked grim. A new witness came forward. "Who?" Benjamin took a breath. "You might want to sit down." Aurora braced herself. He continued. "This witness claims Liam's behavior didn't begin 3 months ago. It started much earlier." Aurora frowned. "How much earlier?" Benjamin hesitated. "A decade." Aurora froze. "A decade? What do you mean?" Benjamin slid a file across the table. Aurora opened it. Inside were statements from Liam's former business partner. He accused Liam of embezzlement, forging signatures, stealing from him, destroying financial records, threatening him. Aurora shook her head. "No, that's impossible. I would have known. He wasn't like that." Benjamin interrupted softly. "Aurora, your son has been living a double life for years." Aurora's throat tightened. No, he was working. He had a career." Benjamin looked at her with deep sadness. "Aurora, Liam didn't lose his job last year because of budget cuts." Aurora looked up. "Then why?" Benjamin held her eyes. "He was fired for stealing client funds." Aurora covered her face with trembling hands. "My boy, oh God, my boy." Benjamin continued gently. "And the company didn't press charges because he signed a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for them keeping it quiet." Aurora whispered. "So he's been like this for years." Benjamin nodded. "He didn't become a monster 3 months ago. He's been one a very long time." Aurora broke down. Margaret held her, and for the first time, Aurora wasn't crying because her son betrayed her. She was crying because she finally understood. She never really knew him at all. The jail was quieter tonight. The fluorescent lights hummed faintly. The air was stale. Voices echoed through concrete halls. Liam Dellisto sat alone on his bunk, staring at the peeling paint on the opposite wall. His hands shook, something he couldn't control anymore. He had always believed he could talk his way out of anything. But this was different. This time, the world wasn't bending for him. This time, everyone wasn't buying the lies, because everyone finally knew the truth. And Liam didn't know how to survive in a world where his lies didn't work. Officer Riley entered the cell block, clipboard in hand. He stopped outside Liam's door. "Dellisto, you have a mandatory mental health evaluation tomorrow." Liam stood abruptly. "I don't need that." Riley smirked. "That's not up to you." Liam stepped closer to the bars. "Look, Riley, we both know I don't belong here." Riley raised an eyebrow. "Funny, that's what everyone here says." "No, I mean it." Liam lowered his voice. "I'm not violent. I'm not dangerous. I'm smarter than this. I can help you. I can get you money, real money." Riley stiffened. You just offered to bribe a corrections officer. Liam's eyes widened. No, that's not what I. Riley stepped closer. You think you're clever, I get it. Guys like you always do. But this isn't your office. This isn't your home. In here, no one cares how smart you think you are. Liam swallowed hard. Riley leaned in. You know what I see when I look at you. Liam didn't answer. A man who's terrified of losing control. With that, Riley walked away, and something inside Liam cracked. Aurora was in the living room with baby Evan asleep on her lap. When Sarah entered the room, pale, trembling, holding a dusty wooden box. Aurora, I found this. Aurora stood. What is it? Sarah placed the box on the table. I found it hidden in the attic, behind the insulation. Aurora frowned. That old attic. I haven't been up there in years. Exactly, Sarah whispered. So why would Liam hide this there? Aurora hesitated. Open it. Sarah lifted the lid. Inside were dozens of folded notes, pages torn from notebooks, printed emails, one small black USB, and at the bottom, a photograph. Aurora picked it up with shaking hands. The image showed Liam, at 15 years old, sitting at a school counselor's office. Expression strange, dark, detached. On the back, someone had written in ink, warning signs. Recommend psychiatric evaluation. Aurora's stomach dropped. What is this? Sarah took a deep breath. Aurora, I think Liam has been troubled since he was a teenager. Aurora refused to believe it. No, he was just sensitive, emotional. He had trouble after his father left, but he wasn't. Sarah interrupted softly. Aurora, please read this. She unfolded a page from the box. It was a school report. Incident. Liam Dellisto was caught stealing test copies. When confronted, he lied repeatedly and manipulated peers into covering for him. Pattern of deception noted. Recommended. Psychological assessment for compulsive lying and sociopathic tendencies. Aurora felt the room spin. No, Sarah. This can't be real. I never saw this. Sarah put a hand on her shoulder. I think Liam hid it from you. Aurora sank into the chair, breath trembling. My boy, my sweet boy. Why would he hide this? Sarah whispered. Because he didn't want help. Because he didn't want to change. Because he liked manipulating people. Aurora covered her mouth. She had spent her whole life protecting him. But had she actually been protecting a monster? Margaret entered the room as Sarah pulled out the final paper. This one, Aurora, please prepare yourself. It was a police report from 2009. Aurora blinked. I don't remember any police involvement. Sarah handed her the paper. You didn't know. Liam intercepted the letter. Aurora read it, and the blood drained from her face. Complaint. Liam Dellisto, age 17. Accused of stealing $2,800 from employer's cash drawer. Employer declined to press charges after speaking with the minor's mother. Aurora felt like she had been punched. I never spoke to anyone. They never contacted me. He lied. He used my name. He stole then. He stole then. Her voice broke into a sob. Sarah knelt beside her. Aurora, this started long before Harper, long before Sarah, long before the documents. He's been living this way for half his life. Aurora whispered, voice hollow. I raised a thief, a manipulator, and I never saw it. Margaret closed the lid on the box. That's because you see the best in people, Aurora. And he took advantage of that. Aurora pressed a trembling hand to her chest. My son has been broken for years. She looked up, eyes filled with sorrow deeper than any wound. And I never knew. Later that evening, Benjamin and D.A. Alexander arrived at Aurora's home. They sat with the box open on the table. Alexander studied the contents carefully. This is significant. Benjamin nodded. This establishes a long-term behavioral pattern. Alexander took notes. We now have evidence of teen theft, chronic manipulation, workplace embezzlement, fraud, identity theft, psychological coercion, attempted elder institutionalization, child manipulation, assault. He looked at Aurora. This box allows us to frame Liam's actions not as a sudden breakdown, but as a lifetime progression of criminal behavior. Aurora felt tears welling. Alexander continued gently, and that makes the case against him nearly impossible for the defense to undermine. Aurora wiped her eyes. Is he going to prison? Alexander nodded. Mrs. Dellisto, Liam is not facing months. He is facing years, possibly decades. Aurora breathed in shakily. I never wanted this. I never wanted him destroyed. Alexander met her gaze. But you wanted the truth, and the truth is what will protect you, your grandchildren, your home, and your future. Aurora closed her eyes. Yes, for Leo, for Evan, for Sarah, for all of us. Back in jail, Liam lay awake, staring at the dim ceiling. Every sound echoed too loudly. A cough in the next cell, a guard's footsteps, a distant shout, but none of that scared him. What scared him was the realization that for the first time in his life, he was not in control. He couldn't manipulate the narrative. He couldn't charm, lie, or threaten his way out. He was trapped, and worst of all, he finally understood that someone had outplayed him. His mother, Aurora, the woman he underestimated, the woman he believed was weak, the woman he tried to break. He clenched his teeth until his jaw ached. This isn't over. I'll find a way. I always do. But deep inside, he knew the truth. He was losing, and he had never lost before. Not like this. The jail was different tonight. Tenser, colder, heavier. Something in the air shifted, like the building itself sensed a storm forming. And at the center of that storm was Liam Dellisto. He sat in the corner of his cell, elbows on knees, fingers pressed to his forehead. Not crying, not breaking down, thinking, scheming, plotting. That DA thinks he knows everything, Liam muttered to himself. That Benjamin idiot thinks he's untouchable. Aurora thinks she's finally won. He lifted his head slowly, but they forget something. His lips curled into a cold, dangerous smile. I always find leverage. He stood and paced the cell. Step, step, step. A predator rehearsing the next hunt. Officer Riley appeared outside his door. Dellisto, you've got a visitor. Liam's eyebrows shot up. A visitor who? Riley checked his clipboard. Says his name is Marcus Hale, attorney. Liam frowned. I didn't hire anyone new. Riley shrugged. He insists you requested him. Liam smirked. Well, bring him in. In the small visitation room, Liam sat at the metal table. A man entered, mid-40s, clean-shaven, sharp gray suit, eyes cold. He sat down quietly. Liam leaned forward. So, who the hell are you? The man smiled thinly. My name is Marcus Hale, and I'm here because we share a mutual inconvenience. Liam stiffened. What inconvenience? Hale slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents, printed emails, bank transfers, legal contracts. Liam froze. This is my company information. Hale nodded. I represent several parties who once entrusted you with their investments. Liam's mouth went dry. You can't. Oh, we can, Hale interrupted calmly. And we will. Liam clenched his fists. What do you want? Hale leaned in, voice quiet, lethal. Revenge. Liam's eyes narrowed. Against who? Hale's smile widened. Against the woman who exposed you. Liam's pulse jumped. Aurora. Hale nodded. You see, when you fell, you damaged many people financially. Many of them believe Aurora is the reason your crimes came to light. Liam straightened. So you're on my side. Hale gave a small, chilling laugh. Oh no, Mr. Dellisto. I hate you, but I hate her more. Liam blinked. This man was unhinged. Perfect. Exactly what he needed. Hale continued. I came to offer you an opportunity. You help us by providing everything you know about your mother's assets. And in return, he tapped the table. We help you destroy her reputation publicly before your trial begins. Liam's breath caught. His mind raced. His heart hammered. This was what he was waiting for. A lifeline, a weapon, a new leverage point. He leaned forward. Tell me what you want. Aurora sat in her kitchen, pouring tea for Margaret and Sarah. Leo and baby, Evan played in the living room. For the first time in weeks, the house felt warm, normal, safe, until the doorbell rang. Margaret jumped. I'll get it. She opened the door. A police officer stood outside, hat in hand. Good evening, Mrs. Aurora Dellisto. Aurora approached cautiously. Yes, I'm Officer Grant. We received a report you should be made aware of. Aurora felt a chill. What kind of report? Grant sighed. There's been chatter. Chatter? Yes, ma'am. Jail communications. Your son, inmate Dellisto. He's been talking to someone on the outside. Aurora's heart sank. What did he say? Grant hesitated. He said, she thinks she won. But this isn't over. Aurora swallowed hard. Sarah stepped closer protectively. What does that mean? She asked, voice shaking. Officer Grant continued gently. We're not sure yet, but the DA wants you to know. Someone visited Liam today. Someone dangerous. Aurora felt lightheaded. Dangerous how? Grant shifted uncomfortably. The visitor, Marcus Hale, has ties to individuals who suffered financial losses through Liam's actions. Some of these individuals hold Aurora responsible. Aurora blinked. Me, why me? Grant sighed. Because you exposed him. And when criminals fall, the people attached to them look for someone to blame. Aurora lowered her eyes. My God. Margaret grabbed her hand. Aurora, sit down. Grant continued. We're assigning extra patrols, and the DA strongly advises you to stay indoors the next few days. Keep all locks secured and avoid any unexpected visitors. Aurora whispered, Is someone trying to hurt me? Grant didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, Ma'am, we're taking all precautions. And that meant yes. Later that night, Benjamin came over. Aurora handed him the small black USB from the attic box. I didn't want to look alone. Benjamin nodded and plugged it into his laptop. A folder popped up. Private, do not open. Benjamin clicked. Inside were dozens of files. One labeled Project Sundown. Aurora frowned. What is that? Benjamin opened it. The document loaded. Aurora gasped. It was a blueprint, a plan, a step-by-step guide, and at the top, in bold letters, how to legally take over a relative's estate through medical incapacitation. Aurora covered her mouth. Her hands shook. Benjamin read aloud. Step 1, isolate the target. Step 2, create documented evidence of confusion. Step 3, intercept all mail. Step 4, prepare forged medical paperwork. Step 5, create financial urgency. Step 6, establish caregiver dominance. Step 7, file for power of attorney. Step 8, move target to care facility. Step 9, liquidate assets. At the bottom, author LD. Aurora collapsed into her chair. My son didn't just act impulsively. He planned this. He studied it. He created a manual. Benjamin nodded grimly. Aurora, this wasn't emotional instability. This was premeditation. Aurora's tears fell silently. My boy, my beautiful boy. Margaret hugged her tightly. He was never who you thought he was. Benjamin closed the laptop. This file alone could add years to his sentence. Aurora stared blankly at the wall. I don't want him dead. I don't want him hurt. I never wanted any of this. Benjamin looked at her with gentle firmness. Aurora, wanting justice doesn't make you cruel. He made choices. He built this path himself. Aurora whispered, "Then why does it feel like I'm the one being punished?" Back in the visitation room, Marcus Hale stood to leave. "Think about my offer, Mr. Dellisto." Liam leaned back in his chair, smirking now. "Oh, I've already thought about it." And Liam's eyes glinted with something dark. "I'm in." Hale smiled. "Then we'll begin phase 1 tomorrow." He turned and walked out. Liam exhaled, long, deep, triumphant. But he didn't notice Officer Riley standing nearby. Riley had heard every word. As Hale exited the building, Riley quietly wrote in his report, "Inmate Dellisto, attempting to coordinate external retaliation." And that single sentence would chain the entire trajectory of the case. The storm outside Aurora's house was violent. Rain hammered the windows. Thunder rolled across the neighborhood. Lightning flashed white against the walls. Inside, Aurora sat at the dining table with Margaret, Sarah, and Benjamin. The USB files still lay open, ugly, undeniable proof of what Liam had become. Aurora couldn't stop staring at the document labeled Project Sundown. Her son planned her downfall as if she were a business asset. She whispered, "Was anything he ever told me true?" Benjamin placed a gentle hand over hers. "Some people don't lie because they have to. They lie because they want to." Aurora wiped tears from her eyes. "I don't know which version of my son was real anymore." Benjamin exhaled softly. "Maybe none of them." Lightning lit up the room again. And then someone knocked on the door. 3 sharp knocks. The entire room froze. Sarah whispered, "It's 10 p.m. Who comes at this hour?" Benjamin stood. "Aurora, stay back." "Margaret, turn off the lights." Margaret killed the switch. The room went dim. Benjamin approached the door carefully. "Who is it?" he called. A man's voice replied, "My name is Daniel Cordero. I need to speak with Mrs. Dellisto. It's about her son." Aurora's blood went cold. Sarah whispered, "That name, why does it sound familiar?" Benjamin cracked the door, just enough to see the man outside. A tall, thin man in his 30s stood on the porch, soaked to the bone, trembling. Benjamin narrowed his eyes. "ID." The man immediately handed over a driver's license. Benjamin checked it, then looked back at Aurora. "It's legitimate." Aurora approached slowly. "Let him in." Benjamin opened the door fully. Daniel Cordero stepped inside, dripping water onto the floor, clutching a worn envelope in his shaking hands. His eyes were red, full of fear, full of guilt. "Aurora Dellisto?" he asked quietly. "Yes," she said. "Who are you?" Daniel swallowed. I'm one of the first people your son ever destroyed." They guided Daniel to the table. Margaret brought him a towel. Sarah poured tea. Daniel held the cup with trembling fingers. I wasn't sure if I should come, he said. But when I saw the news, when I heard the charges, I realized he's doing to you what he tried to do to me. Aurora leaned forward. What did Liam do to you? Daniel took a deep, trembling breath. It started in college. We were roommates. Aurora froze. Roommates. Daniel nodded. At first, he was charming, funny, easy to talk to. He made everyone feel important. Benjamin murmured, "That sounds familiar." Daniel continued, "But there was another side to him, a side no one else saw." Aurora held her breath. "What side?" Daniel hesitated. Then softly, "He stole my identity." Aurora blinked. "What?" Daniel reached into the envelope and slid documents across the table. Credit card statements, unpaid loans, a lease agreement, emails, forged signatures identical to Daniel's, and a police complaint. Aurora gasped. Daniel's voice broke. "I was 19. Liam opened credit cards in my name, rented an apartment using my social security number, took out a payday loan for $6,000. I got blamed for all of it." Aurora whispered, No, I never knew. He never said anything." Daniel wiped tears with the back of his hand. "He told me if I reported it, he'd make my life hell. And he was convincing. He said he had connections. He said he'd get me expelled. He said he'd turn my parents against me." Aurora pressed a hand to her heart. "My son did this at 19. Daniel nodded. "He ruined my credit for almost 10 years. Benjamin leaned forward. "Why didn't he get charged?" Daniel looked down. "I was scared. And Liam was good at manipulating people. He convinced everyone it was a misunderstanding. He even convinced my girlfriend that I was the liar." He exhaled, shaking. "He cost me everything." Aurora felt numb. Her son had been a monster long before she realized. Daniel pulled out the final paper. "This is why I came." Aurora took it with trembling hands. It was a printout of an old email from Liam Dellisto at University, Edu, to Marcus Hale at privatefm.com. Subject RE, investment plan. Aurora's heart dropped. Benjamin's eyes widened. Sarah whispered, "No, please no." Daniel nodded. "Yes, Marcus Hale knew your son. They worked together 10 years ago." Aurora stared at him. "You're saying Marcus Hale was part of Liam's first scams?" Daniel nodded. "And Marcus Hale, he's more dangerous than Liam ever was." Benjamin stood abruptly. "We need to alert the DA now." Meanwhile, in the dim hallway of the jail, Marcus Hale spoke quietly on his phone. "Yes, I met with him." A voice on the other end asked something. Hale chuckled. "He's desperate. People like him are useful when they have nowhere left to go." Another question. Hale's voice hardened. "No, I don't care about his innocence. I care about them blaming Aurora for what happened 10 years ago." Lightning cracked Outside the barred window, Hale smiled coldly. Tell the others. Phase 1 begins tomorrow night. Back at Aurora's house, Benjamin spoke urgently. We need to move you to temporary protection. Aurora shook her head. No, I won't hide. Mrs. Dellisto, Marcus Hale is not someone who makes empty threats. Aurora's voice trembled. He blames me for exposing Liam. But I didn't do this to him. I didn't break him. I didn't make him lie. I didn't make him steal. Benjamin softened. No, but you survived his manipulation. And that makes you a threat. Aurora clenched her fists. I'm tired of being afraid. If they want to come after me, let them. I won't run. Margaret grabbed her arm. Aurora, don't talk like that. But Aurora's eyes were wet with something deeper. She whispered, I lost my son. I will not lose myself. Sarah hugged her tightly. We won't let anything happen to you. Benjamin exhaled. Then we prepare. Security, police involvement, protected communication. We do this smart. Aurora nodded. Yes, smart. She looked at Daniel. Thank you for telling me the truth. Daniel gave a sad smile. No one believed me back then, but I believe you now. He stood, and I'll testify. Aurora froze. You will. Daniel nodded firmly. Your son's sins didn't start with you. If my story helps protect you, then I'll tell it. Aurora's eyes filled with tears again. Thank you, truly. Daniel placed a hand over hers. You're not alone anymore. Late that night, while the storm raged outside, a black car parked across from Aurora's home. The windows were tinted. The engine stayed on. Inside, 2 men watched the house. One spoke quietly into a phone. Sir, Target is in the living room with 3 others. Lights will go out soon. A pause. Yes, we'll wait for your signal. He hung up, and the car stayed there, watching, waiting, silent. The storm eased near midnight. The thunder grew distant. The wind slowed. The rain softened into a rhythmic whisper. But inside Aurora's home, tension thickened like smoke. Margaret double-checked the locks. Sarah closed the curtains tightly. Benjamin stayed by the window, watching the street. Aurora sat in her armchair, baby Evan asleep against her chest, exhaustion making her bones heavy. She whispered, Do you feel it? The air, it's different tonight. Benjamin didn't turn. I do. Sarah approached him nervously. What exactly are we waiting for? Benjamin kept scanning the street. Trouble. At 12:45 a.m., headlights appeared across the street. A small sedan. Not the black car. This one was familiar. Benjamin stiffened. That's Dr. Calloway. Aurora blinked. The court psychologist. Benjamin nodded. I asked him to come tonight. Sarah frowned. Now at this hour. Benjamin didn't look away from the window. Because we don't have time to wait for morning. He opened the door just enough for the doctor to slip inside. Dr. Calloway, late 50s, silver hair, tired eyes, carried a thick folder under his arm. He exhaled sharply. Aurora, I'm sorry to come so late, but after today's developments, I needed to show you this. He sat at the table, spread out his papers, and removed his glasses. His voice was soft, measured, heavy. I finished analyzing Liam's psychological profile. Aurora's heart tightened, and she whispered. Calloway hesitated. Then, it confirms every fear you've had and reveals more than you imagined. Aurora's breath caught. Please tell me. Calloway opened the folder. Inside were pages of notes, evaluations, reports, and transcripts. He pointed to one page. This is not a case of sudden moral collapse. This is years, decades of pathological behavior. He flipped another page. Liam meets the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, compulsive lying tendencies, and he paused. Aurora's fingers trembled. And what? Calloway looked her directly in the eyes. Antisocial personality traits. Sarah covered her mouth. Margaret whispered, No, oh God. Aurora shook her head. No, not my boy. He can't be. Calloway gently placed a hand over hers. Aurora, this doesn't mean he's a monster without feelings, but it does mean he has a dangerous inability to feel empathy, guilt, or remorse. Aurora's voice cracked. He used to cry when I cried. Calloway sighed. And children with these tendencies learn to fake emotion to get what they want. Aurora's eyes filled with tears. You're saying he manipulated me since he was a child? Yes. She covered her face. My son, my baby. Calloway continued softly. There's something else. Benjamin straightened. What is it? Calloway pulled out a sealed envelope. Liam's father. Aurora froze. The room fell silent. Calloway said, There is a documented history of mental instability on his father's side. Aggression, manipulation, fraud, emotional abuse, multiple arrests. Aurora's voice trembled. No, Liam never knew about his father's past. Calloway nodded. But genetics don't need your permission. Aurora collapsed into a chair. The truth finally broke her completely. My son was never normal. I just didn't see it. Calloway touched her shoulder. You saw what you wanted to see. You loved him. That is not a fault. Aurora sobbed quietly. I don't know if this is grief or guilt. It's both, Calloway whispered. Outside, the black vehicle idled. Inside, two men watched Aurora's house, like wolves watching a barn door. One spoke into a phone. Sir, the lights in the living room just went off. A voice replied through static. Good. Keep watching. Another flash of lightning illuminated the street, and the shadowed faces inside the car. They weren't amateurs. They weren't scared. They weren't guessing. They knew exactly what they were doing. One man adjusted a small device on the dashboard. A signal jammer. He smirked. Phones are gonna go dark soon. Across the street, an older couple sat by their window. Mrs. Holtz nudged her husband. Arthur, look at that car. He squinted. That one. It's been there for over an hour. It's watching Aurora's house. Arthur frowned. That's not right. Mrs. Holtz grabbed her phone. I'm calling the police. But when she dialed, no signal. What the? Arthur tried his phone. Nothing. They're jamming the neighborhood, he whispered. Mrs. Holtz froze. Oh dear Lord. Arthur, go get Tommy. Tommy Holtz, their 32-year-old son, was a former Marine. He came downstairs in seconds. What's going on? Mrs. Holtz pointed at the car. Tommy's face hardened instantly. Stay inside. Lock the doors. Benjamin checked his phone. No signal. He frowned. We lost cellular. Sarah gasped. Why? Margaret whispered. The storm. No, Benjamin said firmly. This is interference. Someone is blocking signals. Calloway inhaled sharply. Aurora, we need to secure the house. Sarah ran to check the back door. Aurora held baby Evan close, heart pounding violently. Benjamin went to the front window, peeked through the curtain, then froze. Oh no. What is it? Aurora whispered. Benjamin turned slowly. There's a black car across the street. Aurora's blood ran cold. Marcus Hale, she whispered. Benjamin nodded. I think his people are here. Margaret stepped back, trembling. This is real. Oh my God, this is really happening. Calloway's voice dropped to a whisper. Aurora, get the children to the basement. Outside, the black car doors opened quietly. Two men stepped out. One walked toward the backyard. The other approached the front lawn, moving low, careful, trained. They weren't here to talk. They were here to send a message. Inside, Aurora whispered, Benjamin, what do we do? Benjamin locked the door and grabbed a heavy fire poker from the fireplace. We stall until the police arrive. But the phones. I know, he said grimly. The neighbors might see. Or maybe the police are already suspicious. Then, a loud metallic sound echoed from the back of the house. Sarah screamed. There at the door. Benjamin turned to Aurora. Get Leo, get Evan, move. Aurora ran to the hall. Leo looked up from his toys, confused. Grandma, what's happening? Aurora scooped him into her arms. Don't be afraid, baby. We're going downstairs. Evan began crying. Aurora held them both tightly. Outside, Tommy Holtz, former Marine, crossed the street like a ghost. He approached the black car silently, saw the signal jammer, saw the men, saw the tools. He muttered, Not in my neighborhood, and he smashed the jammer with a tire iron. Inside Aurora's house, Benjamin's phone suddenly lit up. Signal RESTORD. Benjamin gasped. The signal's back. He immediately dialed 911. This is Benjamin Clark. We need immediate police response. Elderly woman under threat. 2 intruders approaching the property. Dispatch answered. Units are already en route. Outside, the 2 intruders heard sirens in the distance. One cursed, "Someone saw us." Abort, the other snapped. Now, they sprinted back to the black car. Tommy stepped into view. "You picked the wrong damn street." The men froze. One reached into his jacket. Tommy tightened his grip on the iron bar. "Try it, please." But the sirens grew louder. The attackers jumped into the car, peeled away, and disappeared into the storm. Tommy ran to Aurora's door and banged hard. "It's Tommy Holtz. Open UP." Benjamin opened the door. Tommy pointed toward the street. "They're gone for now. Police are close." Aurora sobbed with relief as Margaret hugged her. Sarah collapsed into a chair, shaking. Calloway whispered, "This wasn't intimidation. This was a warning." Aurora hugged the children tighter. "No, this was a promise." The sirens finally faded. The black car was gone, but the danger it carried still lingered like a stain on the night. Aurora, Margaret, Sarah, Benjamin, and Dr. Calloway sat in the living room surrounded by stunned silence. Leo slept in Aurora's arms, unaware of the chaos. Baby Evan whimpered softly. Tommy Holtz stood near the doorway, drenched from the storm, muscles tense. He said in a steady voice, "They'll be back. Criminals like that don't walk away after one failed try." Benjamin nodded grimly. "And next time, they won't make noise." Aurora swallowed hard. What do they want from me?" Tommy exchanged a look with Benjamin. Benjamin answered, "They want to silence you, or scare you enough that you stop cooperating in Liam's case." Margaret gasped, "You mean kill her?" Benjamin didn't answer. He didn't need to. At 8 a.m. the next morning, Benjamin escorted Aurora to the DA's office. Alexander, the district attorney, stood by a massive board filled with photographs, timelines, banking documents, phone transcripts, court filings, and now surveillance images from last night. He turned as Aurora entered. "Aurora Dellisto," he said, "I need you to know something important." Aurora sat down slowly. "What is it?" Alexander inhaled. "You are officially considered a primary target of an affiliated criminal group, which means you are no longer just a witness." Aurora blinked. "What am I now?" Alexander leaned forward. "A protected party under state law." She frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means we will treat this case as both criminal and organized crime related. It means you will be guarded. It means you will be moved with police escort. It means we are escalating everything." He paused. "And it means Liam's case is now twice as serious." Aurora whispered, "Because of me." Alexander shook his head. "Because of him." He pulled out a thick stack of papers. "This is the new indictment, 37 pages, including 20 additional charges." Aurora felt faint. What charges? Benjamin answered quietly. Conspiracy, threats, attempted coercion, asset manipulation, fraud across multiple jurisdictions, and now involvement with known criminals. Aurora clasped her hands tightly. I never wanted this to happen. I never wanted him buried. Alexander looked at her with steady eyes. You didn't bury him, Mrs. Dellisto. He dug the hole himself. 2 hours later, interrogation room. One of Hale's men had been caught speeding 5 blocks away after fleeing Aurora's house. Detective Rivera sat across from him, voice icy calm. Name. The man stared at the wall. Silence. Affiliation. Silence. Rivera leaned forward. You showed up outside a protected witness's home. That's 10 years on its own. So unless you want to add federal time on top of that, you better start talking. Still nothing. Rivera smirked. You're loyal, huh? The man's jaw tightened. You don't know what you're dealing with. Oh, Rivera raised an eyebrow. Marcus Hale. He's a snake with a suit on. That it? The man glared. Hale isn't afraid of prison. He's afraid of losing control. Rivera leaned back. And why target Aurora? The man didn't speak. So Rivera tried a different angle. Did Liam Dellisto ask you to go after her? The man scoffed. Liam, he's nothing. A pawn. This got Rivera's attention. A pawn of who? The man smirked. You think Hale works alone? Rivera's pulse quickened. Who else is involved? The man shrugged. You'll find out when you see who shows up next. In a high-rise office downtown, Marcus Hale poured himself a glass of bourbon. He watched the rain through the floor-to-ceiling windows. A suited assistant entered. Sir, one of the men was arrested. Hale didn't flinch. Expected, replace him. Yes, sir. And the Dellisto situation. We approached Liam again. He's eager to cooperate. A slow smile crossed Hale's lips. Good. Get everything from him. Codes, accounts, passwords, every detail. The assistant nodded. And Aurora. Hale's eyes hardened. She has become a symbol. A symbol, sir. A symbol that you can't always control your victims. A symbol that some people fight back. We don't allow symbols. He set the glass down. Prepare the next phase. Back home, Aurora sat in the kitchen with Benjamin and Margaret. Benjamin said, the DA wants to move you into temporary protective housing. Aurora stood up immediately. No, absolutely not. Benjamin sighed. Aurora, I'm not leaving my home, Benjamin. I built this place, lived in it for 40 years, raised my son inside these walls. Her voice cracked. I already lost him. I won't lose my home too. Margaret squeezed Aurora's hand. We understand, but this is dangerous. Aurora's eyes filled with tears. Everything is dangerous now. She looked at Benjamin. How long until the trial? Benjamin hesitated. With all the new charges. 2 months, maybe 3. Aurora sat down slowly. 3 months. 3 months of being hunted. Watched. Hiding. Benjamin nodded grimly. Yes, Aurora whispered. I'm tired of being prey. Benjamin placed a hand on her shoulder. You won't be. Later that evening, Sarah walked into the living room holding a stack of unopened mail. Aurora, some of these letters were hidden behind the drawer. I think Liam shoved them there. Aurora frowned. What letters? Sarah handed her the pile. Aurora began flipping through them. Bill, offer, bank notice, then a thick envelope with no return address. Aurora opened it. Inside were photographs, dozens of them, all of Aurora. Different days, different outfits, different angles, taken secretly, taken months before this all started. Sarah gasped. Oh my God. Benjamin examined the envelope. No postage, no stamp, dropped off by hand. Aurora whispered. Liam was watching me, even when he wasn't living here. She dropped the photos onto the table, hands shaking. He stalked me. Benjamin closed his eyes. This proves premeditation. This proves obsession. This proves danger. Aurora stood, trembling violently. My son was planning this for so long. She felt her knees weaken. Margaret caught her before she fell. Back in jail, Liam paced his cell like a panicked animal. He slammed his fists into the bars. This wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to fight back. The guard approached. You okay in there, Dellisto? Liam snarled. Shut up. The guard turned to leave. Suit yourself. Liam gripped the bars. I had everything under control. His breath shook. They ruined it. She ruined it. He hit the bars again. This is her fault. But deep inside, he felt something he had never felt before. Fear. Real, suffocating fear. Because, for the first time in his life, the consequences were bigger than him. Benjamin reviewed stacks of evidence. Dr. Calloway prepared to testify. Daniel Cordero reviewed his statements. Sarah collected documents Liam tried to hide. Margaret coordinated neighbors as witnesses. Aurora sat at the center of it all, a woman who lost everything but refused to fall. Benjamin finally said, in all my years, Aurora, I've never seen a case like this. Aurora whispered, neither have I. Margaret squeezed her hand. But you're still here. Aurora nodded. Yes, I'm still here. Outside, a police cruiser slow-rolled past the house. Another behind it. Protection, or a countdown. Aurora didn't know. All she knew was that the storm had only just begun, and the next chapter would break everything.